Six Flags Fiesta Texas' next coaster is coming sooner than you think, and it's going to be one of the craziest investments the park has seen to date. Six Flags Fiesta Texas made a shocking announcement a few months ago unveiling their newest coaster, the first B&M dive in the Six Flags chain. I'll get straight to it. Fiesta Texas is one of the nicest parks in the Six Flags chain, and its coaster lineup is one of the best in the world, getting increasingly better with each new edition. Six Flags sees the potential in this park, and with the growing San Antonio population, there is no doubt why. Fiesta Texas is one of the world's greatest amusement parks, and I have a perfect idea for their next coaster. Here are my predictions for Six Flags Fiesta Texas' next coaster and why I think it could potentially be their best yet. Fiesta Texas' recent coaster additions haven't been pretty good for their Six Flags park. They opened the $10 million Iron Rattler in 2013, followed by an S&S 4D Freespin in just 2 years later. In 2018, they opened their single rail coaster Wonder Woman, estimated to cost around $7 million, followed by now Dr. Diabolical for 2022, which is likely around $15 million. This park got 4 major roller coasters in less than 10 years with an average spending of about $10 million to build these attractions. The Six Flags chain has a new CEO, and the chain's future looks brighter than ever. For Fiesta Texas' next coaster, I'm gonna try to stay in the $10 to $20 million range, because though I think Six Flags may be willing to spend more than previously, I don't think they'd be willing to break the $20 million mark so soon. The first coaster that I think they could get is a B&M Hyper. This park will be the perfect park to get a B&M Giga, but they have a height limit limiting them to only about 200 feet. It's possible they manage to get a Giga coaster approved, but I doubt it'll happen anytime soon, since Six Flags isn't in the budget of Giga coasters, and even if they were, there are other parks that a Giga would work better at. Almost every park in the Six Flags chain has a B&M Hyper. Six Flags Fiesta Texas is one of the largest parks in the country that doesn't have a B&M Hyper. Six Flags just worked with B&M for Fiesta Texas, so I'm sure a hypercoaster is in the cards for Fiesta Texas. A hypercoaster from B&M will be on the expensive side though, probably costing at $20 million. But it's a proven model and always succeeds. The most recent B&M Hyper that opened was Candymonium, and it did wonders for them, making Hershey Parks the most visited non-theme park in the country in 2020. The B&M Hypercoaster is a very likely option for Fiesta, but there are other B&M models that work too. The Surf Coaster is a model I think would fit great at this park. It would give them another launch coaster, and it's from B&M, so it probably would be reliable. It also likely wouldn't be too expensive, probably costing closer to the $15 million range. Then there's the possibility of them getting a launched B&M Wing Coaster or a launched Flyer. These coaster options are all great fits for the park, but there's one coaster that I think would truly change the park forever and help Six Flags Fiesta Texas become one of the best parks in the country. Before I get to that though, we have to discuss another coaster option, the wooden coaster. Fiesta Texas' only wooden coaster was RMC back in 2014, so that's a big gap in their lineup. SeaWorld San Antonio, down the road from Fiesta, recently opened Texas Stingray, which is a GCI wooden coaster. I think Fiesta Texas may get a wooden coaster eventually, but I'm not sure they get one so soon. Fiesta Texas is one of the few major parks in the country without a wooden coaster, so I'd expect them to get one eventually, though that may be a lot further down the line. Then there's the elephant in the room, the S&S Axis Coaster. S&S's Axis Coaster was always rumored to go to Fiesta Texas. Fiesta is kind of the testing ground for the Six Flags chain, and everyone thought they'd get the first one. But they decided to shock us and open a B&M dive instead. I'm happy Six Flags decided to give this park a quality coaster that isn't a prototype, because that shows the chain actually cares about the park and doesn't just want to test rides out here. Though Fiesta Texas didn't get the access for 2022, it's still a possibility for the next coaster. I think the Six Flags chain may decide to test out the Axis Coaster at another park like over Georgia instead of Fiesta, but it's definitely a possibility as they open an Axis at Fiesta next. Before I get to the final coaster that I think will be a perfect fit at this park, I want to bring up one more coaster, and that is RMC. Fiesta Texas got the first major RMC hybrid conversion after Texas Giant and the first RMC single rail Raptor. Could Fiesta Texas get the first of a brand new RMC model that comes out sometime in the future? I think yes. It's hard to speculate on a coaster model that may never exist, so who knows what it could be. But I think the RMC is a legitimate option to consider for Fiesta Texas' next coaster. Six Flags Fiesta Texas' next coaster will be amazing, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more than one of the coasters mentioned on this list open at the park over the next 10 years. Would it really be so far-fetched for them to open an SNS Axis, a B&M Hyper, or a brand new model from RMC all the next 10 years? Adding coasters like that would really change the park forever and would give it an even better lineup of coasters. But what if the park could open a better coaster than every other coaster on this list? A coaster that would be a huge success and would instantly become a huge hit at the park. A coaster that could even become the best in the world. I'm talking about the Intamin Blitz. I know Six Flags doesn't work with Intamin, but I think this is a real possibility. After the success of Velocicoaster in 2021, I think many parks will try to replicate the success by opening Intamin Blitzes of their own. I think a coaster like Cheetah Hunt, which focuses more on families, will be a perfect fit at Fiesta Texas. Something that would offer a thrilling enough experience for thrill seekers, but also something that a whole family can enjoy, which is an area I feel like Fiesta lacks in. Cheetah Hunt costs $20 million, so I don't think price will be a problem with a ride like this. The main issue I see with Fiesta Texas opening an Intamin Blitz is Intamin. Six Flags hasn't worked with Intamin in years. Ever since the headache the park had with Green Lantern and Magic Mountain in 2011, Intamin hasn't been on the table. Could Six Flags go back to Intamin to purchase an Intamin Blitz? Intamin Blitz model is definitely the most successful coaster model. It's a model you know will be an instant hit, even though it isn't called the Blitz anymore. We've seen Six Flags go back to working with B&M, so maybe with the new CEO, Intamin is in the cards. I do think it's possible for Six Flags to go back to Intamin, especially if it's for a ride like Cheetah Hunt that would do wonders for Fiesta Texas. But maybe there's another way this could happen. What if Six Flags could contract Vekoma to build one of their next generation launch coasters that could maybe even be as good as the Intamin Blitz coaster and would probably be a lot cheaper. SNS works really well with Six Flags, and their parent company is Sansei, who also owns Vekoma. That means Six Flags should really have no issue working with Vekoma, and with Vekoma starting to pop up in the United States, it's a perfect time for Six Flags to jump in. What better way to start working with Vekoma than at the chain's test park? Six Flags could open an awesome Vekoma at Fiesta Texas for 2025, and that would truly be amazing. But Vekoma isn't the only manufacturer that makes amazing coaster models. B&M's Giga Coaster is one of the best coaster models in the world, and Six Flags has yet to build one. Click here to see why I think the first B&M Giga in Six Flags chain is coming sooner than you think. Not only that, but this new Giga Coaster may even be able to destroy Fury 325.